We've become acclimatised to the Mercedes-Benz Ute, the X-Class. Been on sale for quite a while now, but this one's a little bit different. This badge gives it away. It's the V6 version, the X350d, a very different vehicle to the X250d that we've known up until now. Here are 5 things you need to know about this all-new X350d. Number one, it is expensive. It's got a Merc-like price tag, about 79 grand for this one we're in now, which is the Power, obviously with that V6 engine. So that's a lot of money, and it doesn't necessarily get Merc levels of equipment. Leather seats, for example, it actually gets fake leather. You've got to pay extra for the real thing. The sports bar, that fancy looking thing on the back that all Utes at this price seem to have, again, you're paying extra on this car. Number two, there is still a lot of Nissan underneath. It's based on the Nissan Navara, so the chassis, for example, is shared with that car. It also comes out of a Nissan factory, but Merc's done a really good job of making it feel like a Mercedes-Benz. There's the occasional touch that you go, oh, that's not quite right. Things like the key, for example, it's a Nissan key. But on the whole, they've done a really nice job. You get that inside, some nice finishes, for example, the Mercedes badge and even the instrument cluster is very pure Mercedes-Benz. Number three, the X350d is certainly a lot more Merc than the X250, purely because of the drivetrain. It's a pure Mercedes-Benz engine, so the 3-litre V6 turbo diesel, heaps of stonk, so it gets along really nicely. Hooked up to a 7-speed automatic, again Mercedes-Benz, and driving through a permanent all-wheel drive system. So it's actually got low range as well, so constantly in 4-wheel drive, which means you don't have to think about it when you start hitting the rough stuff. The one negative with the engine is how it delivers that power. You've got a lot of turbo lag, so when you pull up and then you go to take off, you push the throttle and it thinks about it for a while and then gives you a big hit of torque. So that takes a bit of driving around. You've got to be aware it's there and aware that when you press the throttle, you're not going to have instant response. Number four, it gets a coil spring rear end. Now that's unusual in the Ute segment. Most of them have got leaf springs, chosen because they're better at apparently carrying a big load. And Mercedes claims with this car, you can still carry about a tonne, so it's got that load carrying ability, although past experience suggests it doesn't do it quite as easily once you put that much weight in the back. The trade-off is it drives nicely on the road, so as well as being quite a refined car, pretty quiet, it's also fairly well behaved, again, by Ute standards. You're not getting passenger car levels of comfort, but it's pretty good. Number five, yes, it wears a luxury badge, but it is still a proper tough truck. It'll carry up to a tonne in its tray, it'll tow up to 3.5 tonnes, and it'll cover some seriously challenging terrain. It is a proper off-roader. You've got that low-range set of gears. It's got decent ground clearance. It's got protection underneath. Probably the areas where it's not quite as strong, things like the approach and departure angle, they're good, they're not terrific. So you just got to be a little bit careful of not damaging that. But overall, you're going to go a long way in one of these things. So there it is, the Mercedes-Benz X-Class V6. Impressive, but you do pay for it. Now, if you want full details or full review of this car, go to practicalmotoring.com.au.